Toastmaster Subramaniam, Soul of a Star. Soul of a Star, Toastmaster Subramaniam.
Tara was sitting in the ferry. In 10 minutes, the ferry would take her back to Gorai. Borivali is not far from Gorai, and an auto rickshaw would take her there in 10 to 15 minutes. And then she would be safe. She knew that the scheming man would learn about her soon, and she had to be very quick in steering herself to safety. Once she is safe, she would nab the man and strip him in front of the world. The discovery she made in Manori was significant. She now has the story that can shake the world. She can catch that man red-handed. She was thanking her stars so that as she was able to make so far. The next half an hour was crucial in her life and for the people and the lives of the people around her. She saw a motorboat speeding beside the ferry. As it overtook the ferry, she saw a man throwing a nasty look at her. She realized her time was up. She was in the middle of the sea and there was no way she could escape. She could neither go back nor forward. She knew her fate was now getting sealed. She barely had 5 minutes before the ferry would touch the ground, and she had to communicate this to someone. She checked her mobile. Thank God, there was some signal, thankfully. 5 minutes later, as she emerged out of that ferry, she was visibly less tensed. She knew her enemies were waiting for the first chance to nab her. She wanted to delay it as much as possible. She made sure she was walking along with the crowd and she was thus hiding herself. She came out of the ferry and was walking towards a shore that she felt that a hard object has hit her. She fell unconscious almost immediately. Jeans, aka Jennifer, normally muted her cell phone whenever she went for her evening stroll. Her evenings were reserved for herself and the nature. She was particularly happy today. The birds that defied her camera every day were more kind enough this evening. She got the pictures she wanted and they would put her name in the Illustrated Animal Weekly Life magazine. She was very happy. She thanked the Almighty for bestowing that happiness on her. As she walked back home and switched on the phone, she had 4 messages and none of them made any sense to her. The light in the star fades for a reason. The lecturer on 4 sentences knows some secrets. So does the lady who takes care of the Koli fisherman. That was the first one. The second clue. The man with the wine in his name took a promise that he would fight injustice. His worldwide word has knowledge that can save the world. Shake it and move it, but protect the soul. A star needs to protect its soul from the black hole. The fourth clue. Walls are beautiful, big and wide, but they have a secret stride. And then there was a picture of a wall. Jeans was perplexed. She checked the sender. It was Tara. Jennifer aka Jeans did not know what to do. Was Tara mad? What was this lady trying to suggest? Should she call her? She decided to read and reread those messages if they did any sense to her. Some 1535 kilometers away from her, Shekhar too was very perplexed. In front of him were also some cryptic messages that his wife Tara had sent. God is the light that removes the darkness of the sin. Does light precede God? Well, that happens at least in the name. However, he lets his angels hide great secrets, reside in places where his own light precedes him. Second message. help is needed to handle this awful life. That the one that can help might even be my favorite dress. Why don't you get in touch with it? There is a number that would never change. Seek it in the cocoon. The fourth one. Our soul is extremely important to us. We ought to keep it pure. The greatest people on the earth are always the ones who can save pure souls. There was a picture of another temple with the last message. Shekhar too was desperate to decode these messages. He knew Tara was in danger. He tried reaching her on her mobile. Her mobile was indeed ringing, but there was no response. He reread the messages, tried hard for the clues, but he was unable to decipher anything. Meanwhile, in a secluded place in the outskirts of Mumbai, a man did a thorough check of his prisoner. He rechecked her belongings, and then he realized that he had to keep his prisoner alive. Her mobile phone was missing. 3 hours later, Shekhar was pacing up and down in the corridors of the children's ward at the Apollo hospitals. Ruhi, his daughter, was not keeping well and was complaining that she had a very bad headache. Shekhar was perplexed. His wife was missing and his daughter is not well. It was now getting on his nerves. He remembered those cryptic messages. He took out his mobile and was rereading them. He was not making any headway with the clues, and he tried to recollect the events in the last 3 hours. The way he rushed to the police station, the way he tried to explain the situation, and the way the inspector tried to pacify him. The police did not take the case seriously at all. They were of the opinion that somebody might be playing prank with Tara's mobile. They said they could do little, and they said they would not file a missing complaint on Tara till 12 hours. He was pacing up and down in the corridors of those hospitals that it struck him. He realized that Tara was fond of her jeans. I could put anything on the top of it and walk. That's what Tara would normally say. A few minutes later, a confused mind in Cochin picked the phone and almost shouted into the phone, "Shakes!" Tara woke up with a throbbing pain in her head. The room was pitch dark. There seemed to be some fluid that was slowly ticking out onto her hair from the back of her head. She prayed that the wound would not be serious. She quickly tried to assess where she was. She realized it was of no use. She remembered Shekhar's advice to concentrate on sweet memories when you are in trouble. She was not able to. Instead, her mind was playing the story of the day when all this started. It was a bright Monday morning that she walked into her corner office in the 18th floor in one of the sky rises in Mumbai. She found herself muttering, "You still can make heads turn, Tara. No doubt Shekhar has a hard time taking his hands off you." The very thought of Shekhar and his teasing hands brought a smile on her face as she opened her laptop to start her emails. She was skimming through the unread mails that there was a subject that caught her interest, and that read, "Innocent eyes and a tough lass." She opened the mail. "You," the next word is a beep actually, and it starts with a B. "My faith does not allow me to use expletives against a married woman. Else I would have used all the expletives available in the dictionary. You wanted a Kochi's photo shoot for one of your clients, it's okay, but how dare you pay me? What on earth made you believe that I would take money from a childhood friend? Attached are the pictures I shot for you. Your paycheck will be there at your doorstep soon. You pay back me by paying a visit to my home. It's been 9 long years since we met. Totally pissed off, your stupid friend Jeans. P.S. I know you're a tough girl, but you can't have your way with me." That was the mail. Tara read the mail and she was grinning from ear to ear. She knew Jennifer was hurt, but she knew the way to pacify her ziddy photographer friend was only by Overpowered by the desire of her mind, she slowly opened the attachment. The series that Jennifer shared began with a breathtaking view of the Marine Drive, Hill Place Museum, Sherai Beach, Mangalavanam Bird Sanctuary, and then there were some beautiful snaps of Paradesi Synagogue, Dutch Palace, Chinese fishing net, and finally the Fort Court Beach. Then she also found that there were some pictures of Chottanikara and Ernakulatappan temples. The breathtaking view of St. Francis Church and Santa Cruz Basilica entered the series. Only genes could have done this. Tara admired the pictures. She recognized all those places, for it was the place where she was born and brought up. Her head was still spinning fast, but she tried to remember those days when she and Jeans used to run across the street as happy kids. Those were the days of innocence, the time when she was naive. Those were the days when she had a passion, and the passion for her dance started. Her stepmother was a renowned Mohiniyattam dancer. Kids from the neighborhood would come and learn dance from her. While her home was a dance school, Tara was never allowed to touch the kungru or ghungru. She was considered inefficient, and her stepmother relegated her to household chores. Nobody took care of her needs. She went to school so that people do not ask questions. She was forced to work in the household chores once she returned from school, and that unhappy 10-year-old returned to storybooks to find some solace. She liked stories, and she started reading stories of famous people around the world. The one that appealed to her the most was Joan of Arc. The bravery, the rebellious attitude, and the way Joan of Arc fought through the tough situations left an indelible impression on her. With that inspiration, Tara set out to do what she wanted to do. She stole a set of ghungru from her mom and started practicing secretly. By the time she was in her maiden teens, she was becoming an adept in Nrita. One day, there was a competition organized by Kerala Kalamandiram. She secretly registered for it. She had to coax and cajole Jeans to get her a kasavu. Kasavu is a sari worn on dance, and some jasmine flowers. She had to dance on stage without any jewelry. But then, she was comparing herself with Joan of Arc, who had very limited resources. If Joan can win her life, I too can, she used to tell herself. To the utter shock and disbelief of her stepmother, she won the competition. She looked at the face of her stepmother, who was staring at her in disbelief. To embarrass her further, Tara announced on the stage that her stepmother was her guru, and she thanked her in front of everyone. Tara's stepmother now had no choice. She had to teach her, and she started teaching her. But for Tara, the victory was that her stepmother had to teach her. She started learning atavus and cherries from her stepmother, and she always wanted to dominate her. She mastered the Hamsapadam and Mayurapadam and Padacheris. She perfected every move and every expression to an extent that her walk and talk in her daily chores also changed. One moment, she had the elegance of a swan and the grandeur of a peacock in another. In short, she was elegance personified. However, Tara gave little importance to all this. For her, this was a personal fight, a fight with the person who ill-treated and insulted her. She is now paying back by excelling in the very same trade where she was denied an entry. Whenever people applauded her, she felt that she was winning over her stepmother and growing above her in fame. Thank you.